Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another exciting, amazing episode of Hollywood After Dark, where we finally have the confirmation that we've been waiting for. 9 glorious years, he has risen, he has returned to walk amongst us, to grace us with his presence, to teach us right from wrong and all the moral parables contained within. I'm not talking about Jesus fucking Christ, I'm talking about Henry fucking Cavill. Fuck yeah, baby. Hollywood After Dark, let's fucking go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. It is, of course, another day, another Hollywood After Dark. Man, I'll tell you, I was not going to stream tonight. I was really like, you know what? I need a day. I need a break. I need to like just chill out, refocus, recap. I felt like, look, I'll be honest. Last night felt a bit on the contentious side, and I apologize for that. I do. Wasn't my goal to come across like a gigantic, bigger dick than usual, but I think I did. I do. I think I was a bit more of a dick last night than I should have been, and for that I apologize. So, you know, some nights, not every day is Christmas. But I woke up this morning to somebody. I guess I made fun of Soup's, like, his hand condition. I didn't know it was a condition. I honestly thought it was Photoshop at first, but apparently he's got this condition to where his pituitary glands have grown bigger. Or they don't stop growing. I'm not too sure the exact terminology. But you know what, though? People were making fun of him, and I joined in on that, and that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. There's a lot more to criticize the guy on than something he has no control over, and I feel like that is probably the best course of action. That being said, man, what a day. Seriously, though, I was honestly spent this morning. This is true. I honestly spent this morning contemplating if I wanted to just like cancel Hollywood After Dark for like the immediate future, just to take a break. Cause I started thinking about it, and I want to be honest with you guys. And I've kind of been hinting at this too, but it's like, I kind of feel like I'm doing the show some nights because I feel like I have to versus I want to, you know, and that is a situation that I don't want to be in, because I don't want to feel like I'm phoning it in. I don't want to feel like, you know, I have to be doing this where I feel bad taking a break, or I feel bad not being on. Because then it can make me start to kind of resent the process. Now, I do feel that movie news in general is kind of crappy. Today's a lot going on, which is really interesting, but it's like, I feel in general, a lot of it is more like negative based than anything else. And I prefer just more fun conversations or debates or whatever, rather than just like, you know, here's the news of the day. There's enough people out there doing that. I don't know necessarily if my voice is going to be adding a lot to the mix, but that's just where I'm at with it. You know, and I spent 2 hours this afternoon watching a presentation on like the JFK assassination. That was just like super fascinating. And it was totally unrelated, but it's like, those are kind of more of what I'm interested in, like historical stories, talking about these things, trying to get into the weeds, really kind of dive in and have these very, very, very like thought-provoking conversations, or really get into some information rather than just like, you know, I feel in many ways, a lot of what I do is so akin to just like, it's like superhero movie gossip is what a lot of it boils down to. And we are going to be taking a look tonight at the whole Grace Randolph thing, because I just want to show you what I think can happen when you take this shit too fucking seriously. And I think that's in hindsight, Grace Randolph is probably like the best example to not be in the scooping game fucking period, because it's not really worth it. Moisture asking, did I have crow for dinner? That for $2. Thanks, sweaty. No, I didn't have crow for dinner. I had chicken. No, I ate crow the other night, man. I took the L. Now I will say though, I did say, like, you know, they're saying that there's no deal for Henry right now. That's what they were saying. That's what the reports were saying. That apparently has changed, according to Henry himself. At least that's the vibe he's giving. So Again, something that I very much wanted. I'll take my L on that. I'll absolutely take my L on that one. And then also HWAD here for $2. Thank you. Says, remember he held up the toy years ago? Well, no, he did. That was 2018. That was 4 years ago for Henry. Absolutely. Absolutely for that one here. So again, there's a lot going on here. Roman Marcus Cruz here says they ruined Superman. How did they ruin Superman? The character was already boring. They made Superman better, in my opinion. Now, whether or not that Superman from Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League is the same iteration we get going forward, fuck if I know, right? Fuck if I know. I do not know what they have going on. If Zack isn't involved, it's definitely going to be something that a lot of people aren't going to agree with. And you know what? I'll tell you guys this, like right off the goddamn bat, like this was a great looking picture they put out today. You know, this looked good. This looks official. You know, this looks really solid. And I really enjoy it. But really, I think a lot of it though, I have seen people saying today that if Zack isn't involved, that it's like what I think the metaphor I saw was like, it's a cake, right? So the whole package, like Snyder and Henry is like a cake, but you know, Henry is like the icing on the cake and Zack is the cake. So just having the icing is not good. And I'm like, I'd like to introduce you to every 4-year-old ever, and they will vehemently disagree with you about the icing on the cake. Not legitimately like no about it not being the best thing on the cake. No, I don't get me wrong. I like the cake portion of the cake, but you know what? Some people have been waiting 4 years for icing, 5 years for icing. So let them enjoy their fucking icing. If they get sick on the icing, then you know what? We'll figure it out when that whole thing happens. Really, we'll figure it out when that whole thing happens here. Now Jay says Zack got to do his trilogy. He did, but there are more stories that he wanted to tell. And I think that that'd be interesting. You know, Music Man here says they better use a Hans Zimmer theme. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the John Williams score being used in that context. I still love the score. I still absolutely adore it. But it's one of those things where I'm like, no, man, I'm good. I'm fucking good. Give me the Hans Zimmer theme. You know, give me something from Junkie XL. Give me something that kind of ties it in. So Jay here says, give Zack Snyder to do Man of Steel 2. That's not going to happen. At this point, I can tell you that that's not going to happen. Oh, sorry here. Reed here says Umbrella Man shot JFK. Sorry. So to quickly kind of roll back around on that one. The presentation I watched was more about Jack Ruby and Jack Ruby's connections to like the local mob, and the way the guy presenting it was talking more about how it was not a government hit. It was like a mob hit. And it was more aimed to like depower Robert F. Kennedy than it was to kill JFK. It was an interesting conversation. It was an interesting presentation. And he was focusing a lot on like Jack Ruby and everything else. And I'm actually going to do some more research into it. I want to read the court transcripts from Jack Ruby's trial that apparently were only recently uncovered. In the last like 5-6 years have been uncovered. So something I want to check out. But that was really, it wasn't the Umbrella Man. It was like something from an overpass or whatever. So something there to consider on that one. Moisture for 5 bones. Thank you. Says, whose Star Wars do you think we'll see first? Lindelof's, Taika's, Feige's, Jenkins, or Johnson's? Well, definitely not Jenkins. That's been taken off the release schedule. We'll get to the Star Wars stuff here towards the end. But I don't even fucking know, man. I think Lindelof right now, or Taika Waititi are probably the two that have the most are furthest along in production, in pre-production. You know, Taika's writing and directing. Lindelof has a co-writer and he's got a director attached. So that's a lot faster. That's coming together a lot quicker. We'll definitely talk more about that though here in a little bit, 100%. So, you know, let's see. Well, originally Zack wanted to be Bruce and Lois's kid, but thankfully Warner Brothers nixed that. I mean, you're talking about the original storyboards. Those are absolutely going to change. That was absolutely going to change. But, yeah, I mean, I thought the concept was interesting, you know, because people in trauma will find each other. That's kind of the whole point. um, or here's something, by the way. Here's something we could possibly look at. Go back and watch the 2000 movie, or 2000's Pearl Harbor, right? And what happened in that one? You have Ben Affleck and Josh Hartnett are both pining over Kate Beckinsale, and Josh Hartnett ends up knocking her up. And then Josh Hartnett dies at the end. And Ben Affleck ends up marrying her and raising Josh Hartnett's kid. Yeah, fucking spoilers, but it's a goddamn 2-decade-old movie. And so it's just kind of like that, where it's, in this case, it's Ben Affleck as Superman, and Josh Hartnett, is Batman, and it's kind of the same concept. It is what it is. But I think it'd be kind of fascinating. Now, I agree with Donovan here. Today cameras are rolling, or till cameras are rolling, nothing's happening. At this point, I completely agree. Tony asking, do you think Oswald killed Kennedy? I mean, that's a theory. A lot of people tend to think that theory no longer holds weight, but everyone holds on to that theory because it seems like the most prevalent. I need to go back and do more research. Stephen King, when he was doing 11/22/63, him and his research partner spent a long time actually researching Lee Harvey Oswald and trying to find out if he worked alone, trying to ascertain if there was anybody else, if it was a CIA operation, anything like that. And Stephen King said in an interview after the fact that he believes that Oswald worked alone based upon what he had found. Now, if these Jack Ruby transcripts and other reporting had come out, that could potentially shed new light on it, or at least make you question the official narrative. That could be something of value. Again, I don't quite know. Something worth looking into. Maybe I'll have to do a deep lore on that one as time goes on. That'd be a really hard one to do. Marcus here says a 2-decade-old movie I was going to watch tomorrow. Are you fucking serious, dude? Oh, crazy. McLeod here. Hey, you changed up your avatar. Says, this news of Cavill coming back as Superman really took me by surprise, despite believing, though to a less extreme extent, that he would come back, but welcoming news nonetheless. Yeah, I'll tell you, man, it's one of those things where, like after knowing he was going to be in the movie, after knowing he's going to pop up in Black Adam and then seeing it, and then them not coming out right away and saying, hey, listen, he's actually, like he's coming, like we know he's coming. And everything else. Like we know that he's going to be, in it. We know that he's going to be, he's going to come back. We're signing a deal, or we're finishing up a deal, things along those lines. I think at that particular point, we could come to we could start kind of like asking ourselves, like, okay, like what is it that, sorry, a little ahead of myself here. We could get that information and go, okay, they're being truthful on this front. If they're being truthful on this front, then that means obviously that we're in a much different position now, and things can start moving forward. Now, do I believe that this has a lot to do with the merger and everything else? I do 100%. And I say that because just today, and I don't have the graphic up, but just today, Warner Brothers Discovery came out and said that they're going to need to find to cut another $2.4 billion. I believe on top of the $3 billion they're already trying to cut, which means more and more and more cost cutting is coming down the pipeline. More shows are going to get pulled from streaming services. More shows are going to get canceled. More shows are going to get sold off to other networks or other platforms. More things are going to happen to bring in a greater revenue source. And that, of course, is a massive problem when it comes to genre-based entertainment that you're kind of taking a fucking gamble on. I mean, look, it's true. Black Adam, for all of its successes, still opened at $67 million, complete with the Henry Cavill cameo. And that's something that was known a week before the movie came out, over a week before the movie came out. Still only did $67 million, $142 million worldwide. The audience score is looking good. The Rotten Tomatoes score for critics is looking bad. Cinema score is not as good as you thought it would be, especially considering the ending. And its second weekend drop is going to be interesting. Now, if it can hold like 40% drop and keep people interested, this announcement from Henry Cavill can definitely keep people interested in coming on in, to coming back and to seeing it. And I think there might be people out there who absolutely want to go and support the movie by watching it more than once. I did confirm last night that our pal H. Bartz has seen the movie has seen the movie now a couple times. William here says 209 million worldwide. Good, man. That's not a bad start. Now let's see if it can hold. If it can hold that and gain upon that, that's going to be really good. And I hope it happens. I don't think the movie was great, but I definitely want to see it happen. And I'll tell you this here. I'll play it for you guys. This did this morning catch me off guard and make me very happy that Henry himself finally said something.
Hey everyone, I wanted to wait until the weekend was over before posting.
Hold on a second. Apparently, something's happening here. StreamYard is acting kind of funky. Hold on one second. Let's try this again. Oh my God, it's doing it again. All right. All right.
Hey everyone.
Yeah, if I go to pull up the video, all of a sudden it lags out everything. So audio, but no video. Yeah, I'm not even getting the video myself. I can see it down here. Like, can you guys see? Okay, you guys can see that. That's through Chrome.
Wanted to wait.
I don't know why when I try to play it, it stops. Let me see. Okay, that's the Quantumania trailer. All right, I'm going to remove that and I'm going to bring it back in. What the hell is going on? If I have to, I'll just stream it from let's see. At least if I could find it again. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what in the shit is happening. Obviously, you know, fucking StreamYard loves to have its moments where it works, and it loves to have its moments where it just decides to take a massive ass crap for no other reason than it just wants to piss me off, I think. For no other reason. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do this a little bit differently. We are going to bring this up full screen. There you guys go. Okay, this is just coming in from Twitter.
Hey everyone, I wanted to wait until the weekend was over before posting this because I wanted to give you all a chance to watch Black Adam. But now that plenty of you have, I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman. And the image you see on this post and what you saw in Black Adam are just a very small taste of things to come. So there's a lot to be thankful for, and I'll get to that in time. But I want to thank you guys most of all. Thank you for your support and thank you for your patience. I promise it will be rewarded.
Damn. All right. So that is cool. That is very cool. But it also does confirm what I believe we already knew, which was that since 2018, Henry Cavill has been done with Superman. One way or another. Whether he didn't want to come back for the cameo, he didn't want to waste his last little bit on the deal, where there was the whole issue with the creative control, where there was the Christopher McQuarrie pitch that Warner Brothers turned down. Was it Toby Emmerich who was stopping him from coming back? Was it Walter Hamada? I'm sure both parties played a part in it, but I think it had more to do with Zack Snyder and the online movement than I think it with Henry Cavill himself. And I think they were just, again, kind of unwilling to, let the control go. It's like they don't want to sit there and divvy up these characters to these different producers or production companies necessarily because they don't want to relinquish any kind of profit sharing, my personal take at least. But something happened where they were able to make a deal with Danny Garcia and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and they were able to find a way over the finish line. The movie came out, hit number one, has done pretty well for itself. Not perfect, not amazing, but it's okay. And it's got a lot of talking about it on social media. So, like I said, wait to see whether or not the hold for the second weekend is going to be something that people actually really, really, really go back for. And that is something that I don't know. I wish I did. I wish I had an answer for you. But at the end of the day, I simply just do not know. Right? It's crazy. So let's see if there's any more information here. I don't think so. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So we don't know what the deal is yet right? I don't believe we know what the deal is yet. That information will most likely come out very soon. But I think that we're going to be happening, or it's going to be happening as time goes on. Be very quick, you know. Let's see here. McLeod says, I also love Cavill's new suit in Black Adam. It keeps a darker tone while also slightly brightening the red and blue colors that pop out more, like at the end of Shazam. I mean, yeah, no, it looked good. And I like that it was like the same suit. Like it wasn't something completely different. Let me bring that image up again. I mean, he doesn't have the red underwear. And that actually is a problem for a fair amount of people, apparently. I've seen people really complaining about that, where they're just like massively upset that Henry Cavill does not have the red trunks. Like, why doesn't he have the red? What's going on? But we're going to have to wait and see how it all plays out at the end of the day, folks. I mean, he's fucking back, right? He's fucking back. Can we complain about that? No. Will I say that The Rock is a movie star once Black Adam 2 comes out? Sure, probably. Probably. Like, the thing is, $67 million for a solo outing, which I think is kind of ridiculous to say, because it is, look, people were being the media was being very, very, very generous with him on that one right there. You can't sit there and go like, yeah, your co-leads are, Dr. Fate and Pierce Brosnan. And these are, they're look, here's the thing with Black Adam. For a story about a guy who's 5,000 years old, a lot of stuff defies logic. I mean, outside of even the immortality stuff. But it's funny to me that the movie is called Black Adam, and Black Adam is literally the least interesting character in the entire movie. Not to say bad, just least interesting. And I hope they give him more to do in the sequel. I really do. I hope they actually make it worthwhile. And they can't rely on this kind of stoic approach anymore. He can't rely on that. Like the ending of it when he's on the throne and then he's like, this is wrong. I thought that was good. I was like, oh, is he going to sit on the throne? We have completely undo all of the political rhetoric in this movie. And they actually landed that. I think the movie, again, was marginally okay. I had fun with it. The action scenes were a lot of fun. The first two acts were a lot of fun. The third act and the overall story wasn't so great. But look, as I said last night, congrats where congrats is due. Congrats to Dwayne for pulling this off. He can now finally rest after carrying this entire movie's marketing strategy on his back for a very long period of time. The audience definitely showed up to help out in a way that was, seems fitting. And if there's solid word of mouth with the 90% audience score, I kind of feel like there would be. And we'll see what happens this next weekend. Will the movie gross a bill? No, it won't. But it will definitely get up there pretty high if it can go to China. Otherwise, I think you're looking at about like, maybe, 500 worldwide. China definitely add a couple hundred on top of that. So I could see it cracking the $7 million range if it goes to China. And that's a higher estimate than I was giving it for a long time. So I do hope the movie itself does well. John here says The Rock co-starred in his own movie. That's pretty true. The Watcher here says Black Adam was good. It was all it needed to be for a Black Adam film. That's kind of ridiculous, though. Again, that's a lot of overlooking the faults in the story. That's the whole. That is cope. Sorry, Watcher. That's cope. That's just cope right there. That's all that is. Sphere Commander says if the JSA is a fixture in Black Adam 2, I hope the villain is Per Degaton. Don't know who that is, but I hope you get what you want. And Lord's like here, it doesn't need $1 billion, but obviously they want it to make $1 billion. At this point, movies are going to make $1 billion. And you know what? These movies are kind of primed for that. And we'll take a look at another trailer that dropped today for a movie that its other previous two outings has not cracked $1 billion. And I've been around the $500 million range. But from what I've been seeing online today, this one's looking like it could maybe eke its way up there with everything else going on. So we'll get to that here in a minute here. Hold on a second. Garrett with $5 super chat. Thank you. Says, do you think the backlash against critics for the Black Adam reviews is justified? No, because arguably, like, again, the critics are going to come at it from a number of different ways in regards to like the story. I think to them, generally the story, would be that one there. Hold on. But I do feel But I do feel that, I don't think it's hating on The Rock. I don't think it's hating on the DCEU. The story is not great. If you really, and we went over this last night. I don't need to go through it again. The story is not very good. It's passable. It's turn your brain off. But if you watch it again, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, why, what, Sabak, huh? And I think that's what they're mostly going after. The audience score showing up to give I think it's very front loaded. That could change over time, but obviously probably won't. Rotten Tomato scores are generally first weekend only sort of thing. But like I said, I thought that the initial Rotten Tomato score of 55% when it got up to 57%, I thought it was going to reach 60. I was like, oh yeah, it might actually pull it off. And then it dropped down to 39, wherever it's at right now. Not great. But we'll have to see how the audience pulls up down the way. We'll have to wait and see. Definitely. Now, William here, if I can find this, says 500 million would put it in the black pretty good for an inherited movie that has its flaws. 500 million though, again, a $200 million for the production and at least 100, if not 150 for P&A. This shit was everywhere, William. I mean, everywhere. They paid out a lot of money for print and advertising. I would say 600 million would be your bare minimum to get it in the black, but 500 I think would warrant a sequel. That's what I think. But there's that one now. Okay. But Nerdy here does make a good point. To be fair, it says I'm with Martin Scorsese, way too much focus on box office. And you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. So there's that. All right. But I do want to see, Tony here says, basically it's a good time waster. I would argue there are better time wasters, but it's something to have on in the background. It's something to watch with your friends, to hang out and, whatever. Like, it's not something that you're going to go back to for a deep philosophical discussion, even though, to its credit, there are elements in that story when talking about the politics of conduct and everything else that's happened in regards to its repeated occupations over the millennia that are definitely interesting. But what I find to be very funny is it's very surface level, even though there's a hint of there's the start of a good story there. And I like to see more with that. We also, by the way, are currently rocking 106 people watching. Guys, come on, smack the like, tickle it. Have a little bit of fun. Quack that like, folks. Quack that. I'm stealing that from small screen. Quack the like, guys. Help it out there. But all right. Garrick here says, but isn't Hollywood a business at the end of the day? Yeah, it is. And I think that's one of the issues that a lot of people out there are kind of enjoying, I think, okay, so it is a bit of a double-edged sword, to be fair. I say that because we follow it like football fans follow fantasy football, all the stat stuff. It's basically just fantasy football for nerds. It really is, if you think about it. We have no control over it, but you almost kind of live and breathe it if you're in this particular space. Same with Rotten Tomatoes and Cinema Score and Metacritic and things like that. There's a lot that goes into these particular worlds that the data that people follow, even though it can take a little bit of the fun out of it every once in a while, because you want something to kind of come out and be an underdog and grow and grow and grow. And I would say, honestly, out of 2022, as far as bigger budgeted movies go that you kind of want to see being underdog, I would put that on Black Adam 100%. I'd put that on Black Adam. It wouldn't, there's been two Marvel movies that have been, I enjoyed both Doctor Strange and Thor Love and Thunder. Doctor Strange 2 a bit more than Thor Love and Thunder. But even those are all right, those are part of another universe, part of another thing. And here comes DC, first DC movie in a year that's connected to the DCEU. And it does have a lot going for it. As a character nobody knows about, with an actor who charges way too much money, with a 13-year production cycle. It's just, there's a lot going on. What the movie has in regards to its saving grace, and I fundamentally believe this, is, for one, I did enjoy the score. When I've listened to it since then, and I think on its own it's great. It's no Junkie XL or Hans Zimmer, but I think it's pretty good. And the cinematography is really solid in some of those shots in Black Adam, really solid. I will absolutely give it a lot of credit for that, because some of those shots were just gorgeous to look at. And they were just, I was like, wow, that was really cool. And for that, I give a lot of credit to the cinematography team. So, and that same guy is doing the cinematography for the Joker 2, which makes me very intrigued to see what they're going to do with that movie. Even though I am kind of fundamentally against that movie, I would argue, only because I feel it's unnecessary, I do want to see what's going to happen in regards to that. So why don't we take I want to see what Miss Randolph here has to say. If you look on Twitter right now, Grace Randolph is trending. She's been trending pretty much all day. And a lot of people are 100% calling her out here. So here's a couple of tweets from her just earlier today. Says here that Henry Cavill is back in Black Adam and has one more cameo planned. Geez, for weeks you guys insist his cameo is a secret, and now that he feels he can finally address it, you think the cameo is old news. And then another guy here gives her crap, saying if he's not signed on, why would he say he's back? Which is a valid question. If he hasn't signed a new deal, why would he say he's back? I mean, back would be more than a cameo. Why would you come, whatever. But she says he's trying to get you all excited so that Warner Brothers Discovery feels they have to sign him or you'll all be super upset. Negotiation tactic and to promote Black Adam. If we had a new movie contract, he'd say he did. Believe me. Now, on that front, I do actually relatively agree with Grace Randolph on that particular front. If he did have a deal, we'd probably get some insight about that. Now, I'm not going to jump to conclusions because I look, in this space, over speculation is a thing, especially when you're trying to be funny and over the top and you swing for the fences constantly. I've had my heart broken enough times with this shit over the years. I don't want to fucking speculate on it, to be honest with you. I'm so emotionally raw in regards to this particular information that I just kind of want to laugh at Grace. That is my own little pettiness right there, I'll fully admit. But at the same time, I don't want to over speculate because, for one, I don't want to get your guys' hopes up. And more importantly, I don't want to get my own hopes up. Because look, I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I've been honest and open about that. Whatever my thoughts are about the Snyderverse, about the Snyder fan base or whatever, about how Warner's has done anything, I have said consistently for 9 years now that Man of Steel was in my top 5 movies of that year, that I utterly adore it, that I think BVS is a great movie, the Ultimate Edition, not theatrical. And I really love the Snyder Cut. I love Henry in the role. I'd love to see him come back. It's been a long time to get him back. But here we are now. Here we are, and it's finally here. And so why? I mean, Grace just really wants to push back. Now, William's right. This information was shared on all of Warner Brothers' official verified accounts. So, I mean, look, there is brand synergy going on with this today, which tells me that it's probably a done fucking deal. Probably a done deal. But unfortunately, Grace has got to, has really got to do this. So there's that one. But let's take a look here at how she's trying to spin this, because I don't want to make fun of Grace 100%, but this is a time when it's like, look, when they announced it or when we found out and all that stuff, I was like, I'll take the L on that. I was wrong. There's nothing wrong with going like, I got this info wrong, or I got the speculation wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, you're human. You make calls. Not always is it going to be the right call. But we have this weird, like, you have to be right. And if you're not right all the time, then you're almost a failure. And obviously there's another channel, and I'm not going to mention their name, you all know who I'm talking about, who believes like that. Where instead of just going like, yeah, I was wrong on this, it's throw friends and business partners and everybody else under the bus, rather than own up to the fact that you made the wrong call. We're humans on the outskirts of an industry. We all make calls that we either, that we think are based in reality. And in many times they are. And sometimes they're also just hopeful speculation. That is just something that is put together as an opinion, or as a fact. That's really just an opinion. So there's that, I'm just saying. All right, let's dive in.
Everybody, good evening. It's getting kind of late, so I wanted to have the stream, especially so our friends across the ocean could still maybe join in. And I have my Quantum Mania breakdown all edited, and it will go up right after this. It's a long one, so I'm so happy that so many of you can join in. Thank you. It's funny. Let me just welcome people. Jamie, thank you for joining. I can see you're new based on your badge. And Dancing Dog 60 gifted 5 memberships, which was so sweet of you. I opened this up to all subscribers. If anyone is a subscriber for any amount of time, so if you hit subscribe right now, you'd be able to comment. I did that so that, we could really have a good discussion. And, Richard Thornton.
Look, I'll be honest with you guys. I've been doing this shit a long time, right? I've been in the weeds on YouTube for a long, I've been knee deep in the hoopla for a very long time. I have never, ever put my comments on subscription only mode. Never. I've never done that. Have I disabled the likes and dislikes? Oh, dude, 100%. Needed to at the time. But I've never, ever put it on subscriber only mode. And many times, though, when she does these live streams, she'll put it on member only mode, meaning that like you can only be a member if you want to comment on the chat. And here she did it actually in subscriber mode. So she wanted to probably increase her chance of having more sympathetic comments in the chat rather than a whole bunch of other accounts that are just going to come on in and fucking troll. I get it. But at the same time, let's at least be honest about the motivation. Let's at least be honest about why things are happening the way that they're happening. And you know what? Don't go, oh yeah, no, I just wanted to put this on. There's that. Yeah, Campia does that too. Right? RJ here says this one is open to all subs. You hear my name? Well, yeah, like I said, RJ, this wasn't just members only. She's done this. Members only. Even the watcher here says Grace always has members only mode, like 9 out of 10. Yeah, this is very much a way for her to get a lot more comments in the chat that are like not just members. It allows her to have more people commenting, and the likelihood of them being on her side is probably going to be okay. And most likely to get new subs. Maybe she saw a bit of a hit. Do you see here? Tails says for about John Campy, you can't even join this chat till like 24 hours after subscribing. Oh, dude. Sil Abdul is the same way. Like he'll turn it on and then he'll be like, oh, you have to wait like 24 hours before you can even comment. So this happens a lot with people who are really afraid of criticism. Me, I like to fight people. I do. I think it's fun. But I understand some days you just don't want to do it. So, on those days you just don't stream. But then I go on Twitter and I get into some serious brawls with people every once in a while. So let's just continue.
Said, how is Grace going to rain on this parade? Well, I'm not raining on any parade. I just feel bad that you guys are being duped.
She says.
I like you to know what's actually going on. And, I don't like seeing you get your hopes up. Hey, Owen. And, I just feel, I'm pointing out to you what's actually happening. And I'm not saying Henry Cavill couldn't come back, but he's not back yet. And this is a promotional campaign. You guys think it's an official announcement, but, like a lot of things that you saw this weekend, I've never seen such blatant promotion disguised as fan chatter for a movie. It was so blatant that I'm surprised that so many people didn't realize what was the promotional stuff.
Well, I've actually noticed that too. I noticed that the Black Adam Twitter account started buying promotions for positive tweets about the movie. I started noticing that they were promoting this stuff and treating it like it was fan chatter, but they're literally just spreading it. It's, dude, again, I have to give credit where credit is due in regards to a very masterful play of propaganda. And they were heavily pushing that. They were very much pushing that over the course of the weekend. And I find that to be really funny that they're paying Twitter to spread somebody else's tweet. My question then becomes, did they compensate that person for being used in an advert? Right? Like, did that happen? I have no fucking idea. Most likely not. I don't even know if there is a metric for that in any conceivable fashion. But there has been a lot this movie has been everywhere, a lot spent on P&A, especially over the weekend, that was being, kind of manipulated to make people think that it was more fan chatter than not. And Grace has made a comment before about the cinema score, or not the cinema score, the Rotten Tomatoes audience score, and how she thinks that might be a little bit on the dupe side. Again, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't trust any of the stuff implicitly, but still, let's see what she says.
But a lot of you seem to think that some of it was legit. If you thought something was cringe this weekend, my pleasure, Jerry. If you thought something was cringe this weekend, it was probably, a deal. Hey, iReady. iReady also gifted 5 memberships. That's a nice photo of you. All right, so the way it works is that for a live stream, for those of you who are new or haven't had a chance to participate, we're going to go through the 3 stories of the day. Please try to ask me things that are about what we're talking about. So that I can have a good stream of thought while we're discussing things. And at the end, for 10 minutes, you can ask me anything that you would like. I'm not necessarily going to answer it, but that's when you can just throw me any curveball you would wish. If you do a super chat, I will try to do it right away. Just like Resident Justice says, hi Grace, is DC Warner Brothers Pictures reposting Henry's post all over the social media part of the negotiations? Why would they repost and say he's back as well? Great question. I'm going to answer that because that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this as a live stream. Is that I thought, people had very legitimate counterpoints, and I can't do that on social media. So doing it in a live stream, we can actually discuss this. Trisha, I'm so jealous you're at the Grand Floridian at Disney World. Oh, I would love to be there next to you. Although apparently you have a lot of people next to you because it's quite crowded. All right, so.
You gotta love it. It's like, keep the comments on point because I want to have a good stream of thought. RJ asks a very poignant and thoughtful question. That's a great question. I'm going to answer that. Hold on a second. Hey, girl. You at the Grand Floridian? I wish I was at the Grand Floridian. You know, the last time I was at the Grand Floridian, COVID wasn't a thing and Obama was still in office. Well, let me tell you a story about the Grand Floridian. Like, it's just like a freaking jangle some keys, man. Jangle some damn keys.
Hey, Matthew. Oh, that's very sweet of you. All right. So, I'm glad you like my glasses, Alex.
Oh, my
God.
God.
I might be debuting a new pair of glasses in the next week or so. I have to think about it. I have to get my nerve up. They're very different. But I like them. All right. So anyway, a little movie came out this weekend called Black Adam, and Warner Brothers is promoting it as one would expect a studio to do. Although for some reason, a lot of fans, thanks Sihar, a lot of fans, Juan, you can't ask me that right now. I said all the songs sound the same about Taylor Swift. All right. So anyway, a lot of you don't seem to understand
reading the chat when you're talking.
Advertisements. So before the movie dropped, they said, we're considering making Man of Steel 2. And that got all of you very excited. It got a lot of people very excited. That did trend on Monday of last week. And a lot of you, again, felt that was a legit news story. And then Dwayne Johnson is going around everywhere that he can talking about Superman. He's like, stay for the super cameo. Every single tweet and social media comment, he says there's something about the cameo, which I think is pretty crazy. Oh, Tanya gifted another 5 memberships. Thank you. That there's a 5-second cameo, and that's the entire discussion around this movie from the people who made it. All right. So they're like, I feel it's almost like they're like, hey, we realize that we should have made Black Adam versus Superman, so please don't make us lose the $300 million we spent on the movie that's come out, because it was $200 million to promote it. I mean, $200 million to make it, another $100 million to promote it. So that's $300 million that Warner Brothers needs to recoup that Dwayne Johnson told them to spend.
Now, here's the thing with that. She's actually not wrong about what she's been saying so far, to be fair. The report was that they are considering Man of Steel 2. Charles Roven, a 70-something-year-old producer, is currently trying to find a writer and a director, with no mention of Henry Cavill having any creative oversight on it, which is, I guarantee you, part of those negotiations, which it's entirely possible at this point that they have squashed that beef. The other side of that, though, is that 5-second fucking cameo is, and I said this so many goddamn times, that cameo would be the entire marketing campaign leading up to the release of the movie. And I was right. They were pulling from the Venom playbook. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but it's just like, you don't really hear anyone really talking about like, oh man, I really liked it when Dr. Fate did this, or when Hawkman did this, or when Atom Smasher did this, or when Cyclone did this, or hell, even when Black Adam did something that we didn't really see already 100 times in the different trailers. That's what I'm talking about. Everything was about that 5-second cameo at the end because it was about what's coming, not what is. And I do feel bad for the people who worked on the movie, who find themselves in, like, who want people to talk about the work that they've done on the visual effects, on the score, on the editing, on whatever, and no one gives a shit. I mean, but that also is just kind of where we find ourselves in this particular space at the moment.
So they really want this to be a hit. So they're hitting you very hard, very hard. So they start out with the Man of Steel 2 carrot, and that worked out pretty well. But they didn't get great box office, right? So today, Henry Cavill comes in, as I said, it's like a bookending is a good way to describe it. So they bookend it on Monday, and they're like, hey, everybody, now Henry Cavill, because some of you insisted that if you discussed Henry Cavill, it would be ruining the cameo. So Henry Cavill could not participate. He wasn't at the premiere. He wasn't at the junket. So finally, Henry Cavill's like, okay, I can be part of the group. He comes in there, he talks about it, and he goes, hey, everybody, I'm gonna make this, I'm back. And, I think it's intentionally vague, which we're going to talk about. Oh yeah, and I didn't even mark the story. I just got right into it. Okay. So anyway, so that's what's going on. So they're really promoting Black Adam. A lot of you are thinking Man of Steel 2, and that's certainly on the table. Boop. Okay, that's certainly on the table. But what's really at stake right now is Black Adam. I think they're worried that Black Adam's going to drop like a rock next weekend, and they don't want that to happen. So they're very nervous. They're very nervous, and they're really pushing hard because they want to make sure that people go and see it. Like if this thing just completely, has the bottom fall out from underneath it. Thanks, C-Rams. So, okay. So how did this story break? Because I tweeted about it right before it broke. And by the way, for those of you...
Real quick, though. So I don't think the movie will drop 80%, but I do have to honestly ask the question, what is there to go back to? What is there truly to go back to? Like there's a lot of that, I see, Lord Slicker says wrong. Many people have had different favorite moments that weren't the post credits. Funny. No one's talking about those, Lord Slugs. No one I've seen talking about that. Literally. Like it's nothing. It's not, man. Oh my God. When Black Adam did this thing. Oh, that was fucking, when Dr. fucking fake fucking, oh fuck, you did the fucking shit. Like, dude, it's no, everyone's the entire focus has been on the post credit scene. Well, okay, here's the thing, Tails. The action, right? The action, there's only really 2 action scenes that you don't see in the preview. One of them is just like, it's an on rails scene, meaning The Rock is just like slowly going through the scene and looking around him, very Quicksilver, like X-Men, and does some stuff. And like, that's it. That's a cool scene. It's a really cool, it's a cool scene, but it doesn't have the visual flair or the excitement or the fun that the Quicksilver stuff did, but it's the exact same scene. There's a couple of little action scenes as well that are kind of okay, but again, it's nothing that's groundbreaking. It's nothing that you're going to like, man, I have to see this again on the big screen. But let me give something positive. So I'm not just being a negative Nancy. I would argue that in many ways, some of the high tier elements of the cinematography with the way that, showing some of those super moments and how they rely on slow-mo, and it almost feels like you're looking at a living, breathing comic book panel. That is cool as fuck. And those are going to be some really cool screenshots when the movie comes out. I can get my hands on a 4K copy. So and again, I'm being like straight up, like honest about that. Like the cinematography stuff is pretty cool for that. Some of the editing, not the greatest. The action you've already seen, nothing groundbreaking in general. It's PG-13 trying to edge on R. That's what. But there's apparently an R-rated cut of the movie, and I'm like, dude, just give us tell me there's an R-rated cut on the cut of the movie coming out, and I'll definitely go see it. So. But it's like, but also not having Shazam in the movie, I think is also going to hurt it too. Garrick here for $2, man. Thank you. Says, Black Adam felt like a superhero movie from 2007. It did. And I've said that. It very much is pulling from its predecessors from a very specific time frame. Nothing really wrong with that, but it's very apparent that's what they're doing. Anthony here says Black Adam is a Zack movie. It is very much trying to pull upon the feelings of a Zack movie, but it doesn't have the visual flair, and it doesn't have what I could only argue would be like the more sensible storyline. Because Zack would, in a movie like this, Zack would never have the villain be as bad as the villain was, right? And I mean, like, by lackluster, by just like, oh my God, you know, even like Sucker Punch with what he was trying to do and how that was butchered in the edit for the theatrical. I think I haven't seen the director's cut yet, but I've heard that there's a lot more nuance there that gives you some more insight into the story. And that, of course, becomes the thing. Will they release the R-rated cut? I don't know. I hope so. I really hope so. That'd be great to see that. The R-rated cut has Soup saying, I swear. It's been a long time since anyone made the world this fucking nervous. We need to talk, Black Adam. You bald-headed, pumpkin-faced looking bitch. Dun 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 dun. Anyway, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was bad. Hard disagree, Garrick. I'll stand for that. Let's see. The R-rated cut has that annoying kid getting killed off. Nah. They did cut the Iron Man shot. I noticed that, Anthony. They did cut the Iron Man shot. I don't know why. I mean, like, I was looking for it, but it wasn't there. Anyway, let's continue on with Grace.
People were like, oh, Grace doesn't want to see this happen. I tweeted about it. I fully expected them to announce a contract for Man of Steel 2 today. I had a source tell me, oh, something's about to happen. And I was like, oh, is it Cavill related? And they were like, pretty much. And I was like, oh, man, they're going to announce Man of Steel 2. So I tweeted out and I was like, I can't talk about it. And I'm like, I heard that it was happening any second. I thought for sure because here's the thing. If Black Adam had done really well, and this is another bit of evidence that it didn't do incredibly well opening weekend, it would have done so incredibly well that on Sunday night, they would have signed Henry Cavill's deal for Man of Steel 2. That's what a really good opening weekend would have done. And I thought that maybe that happened. I thought maybe, I did prejudge the scoop, Andrea. I did. That's the scoop game. Reese, I'm glad you could join today. So I was like, okay, but I was right. I told you it was a Henry Cavill. Every single thing that I've reported about this movie has been correct. Dwayne Johnson just confirmed a ton of it in the past week.
I haven't paid attention, so I don't know if that's true or not.
And then to my surprise, it was like it was a smoke screen when it went up. When Henry Cavill actually posted, he was just like, oh, I can finally talk about it. I'm so glad to be back. That's just a small taste of what's to come. I'm sure he and all of his management would have rather said Man of Steel 2 or Black Adam 2 starring Henry Cavill is coming. It's next. You did it. I'm sure that's the announcement they would have preferred to make, but they didn't. They couldn't. Now, every trade in their coverage today, and every trade picked it up because Warner Brothers is using this as promotion. So every trade played along. So every trade has confirmed that he does not have a deal. Yet for some reason, some of you insist that he does. Everybody wants to report that Henry Cavill has a deal. Do you know what kind of, this story isn't getting the kind of clicks that people would like. If he had a deal, it would be big clickage. I'm telling you right honestly, I would love to report that Man of Steel 2 was a go. I'd love to report it, okay? I don't know how much money the movie's going to make, but it's going to be a hot topic if it gets approved.
She does have a point there where I don't know how well the click rate has been for these stories, because we all kind of knew about it going into the movie. And I think it really is reliant on the second weekend. I really do think it's reliant on the second weekend. Again, I will agree with RJ on this one. It is probably if you want Henry Cavill to come back to be confirmed 100% new deal, go see Black Adam again this weekend. I mean that literally. Like, that is my advice to you. I don't have time this weekend because I have shit to do because it's Halloween weekend and I have kids. But I'd recommend you guys go see it if you want to.
Resident Justice says, if DC Warner Brothers hasn't reposted the post and it was just Henry Danny, I'd be thinking it's just negotiations. I'm going to get to that, Resident Justice. Basically, they're promoting Black Adam. And Henry Cavill did not say, anything that they can't walk back. He just said he's back, and he's technically back. He is back. He's back at the end of Black Adam. For some reason, now, I think that's what they're worried about. The first weekend's over, and suddenly you guys don't care about that. And also, he's in the upcoming Flash movie. But he has 2 cameos. That's it. Now, as the trades are confirming, Warner Brothers Discovery is thinking of making a Man of Steel 2, a solo project. They're considering it. Trisha, the advertising for Black Adam cost around $100 million. Any big movie costs about $100 million to advertise. So, Warner Brothers Discovery is okay with these teases because they're testing the waters. They want to really see if you're interested. This is very similar to what happened with the Snyder Cut. And, look at the number of tweets that it took. And
hold on here real quick here. Troy says, come on, Matt, don't find a way your excuse. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. You gotta, I haven't said anything. I'm saying she's technically correct, but I still think he's coming back. I think this was like, look, you don't say it. And, if there was, you're saying, find a way. Oh, what's my excuse? Oh, right. Sorry. Going to see Black Adam again. Lord Slaker says Jarbo wouldn't even go if he had a chance. I mean, no, I don't think I would go see it again in theaters. I would much rather go see something else, if I, not say that it's not like an entertaining, if a group of friends wanted to go see it, that's a different story, but, I don't have those up here. So it's just me, and I'd rather go watch other things. All right, come on, Grace, get to the good shit.
How many times it had to trend top 10 for that to happen? But so Warner Brothers Discovery is testing the waters. They're like, all right. Now, Black Adam opening weekend was not big enough to get that deal done, as I said. So they're still, I think the weekend 2 is very, very important. But yeah, so anyway, he also said a very small taste of things to come, which has a lot of you being like, that's it. A small taste cameo means a movie's next. I think he's trying to put out positivity into the universe of what he'd like to happen. And I think he wants to get you so jazzed up and so excited that Warner Brothers Discovery goes, yeah, we should do that. That's what it is. It's very similar, which is interesting because he didn't join the Snyder Cut campaign, but he's not above using it for his own self. So it's almost the exact same playbook. Now, the Snyder Cut campaign worked. So that's awesome. However, I'd like to point out that because Kevin Feige came in there and dropped his Quantum Mania trailer, at least in the United States, Man of Steel never trended, or Superman never trended, or Henry Cavill never trended higher than 10. He was just outside the top 10. I think if Quantum Mania hadn't dropped, it would have trended. But it didn't. It didn't. So I think right there, I think Warner...
Yeah, but she's kind of framing that like it was Kevin Feige coming out and fucking with them when the Ant-Man Twitter account last night said big things are coming or tiny things are coming, whatever it was. So you can argue that, in many ways they were absolutely, they were fully aware, this was coming down the pipeline. So this wasn't something that was done as a way to just hurt anything like that. I am currently looking at the trends for the day, at least in America. And let me see here. What do we got? I'm not really seeing a lot with Henry Cavill. Yeah, wow, man, shit. I ain't seeing much of that at all. It's Quantum Realm, fucking Ant-Man and the Wasp. Let me see, maybe I just missed it. Superman 11 hours ago. That would hit number 14. And then it just dropped the fuck off. Yeah. That is weird that the information came out and it started off in spot number 14 with 10,000 tweets. And then after that, it just dropped. It just absolutely dropped for the rest of the time. And not even it just, man, that's pretty, she's not wrong on that one. It just did not hit. It did not hit the nationwide trending. That's not to say it wasn't trending for you, because even right now, it is trending for me, but it doesn't, but on a nationwide level, it's not trending. So there's that. Now it's true. Marvel is bigger. Let me get to this one here. H Barts for 5 bones. Thanks, buddy. He says, it's so nice seeing DC and Warner working correctly after years of will he or won't he be back in the future of the DCU is bright right now. We just need Affleck. Well, if you want to believe the rumor that Affleck signed a 3-picture deal to come back in, fuck it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I really have no idea what's going on. But I do think that there is very much going to be a conflict with the Batman. I do think there's going to be a major conflict with the Batman simply because it's like, how do you have 2 Batman on screen? It's going to be super fucking weird. Especially 3 if the Keaton stuff, still happens. So I don't know, man. I do not know where we're going to find ourselves on this one. But all right. It got to number 10 and then it dropped off. It didn't even get to it got to number 14, RJ. It didn't get to number 10. It hit number 14 and then dropped off. I was looking at it. So, I mean, it sucks, but that's kind of what happens. It just, I'm trying to find it again. Superman. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Either way, it gets up there and it just drops by how weird is it that Superman got thwarted by Quantumania, right? Benson here says, nothing signed, nothing announced by Warner Brothers. Calm down, Snyder fans. I mean, him saying something is for the first time in 4 years is an indicator of something. I think that's okay. And Mo, you've been trying to show me on a movie that was really bad, so I don't want to hear shit. Anyway, it trended on Facebook and Instagram. No one uses Facebook or Instagram. I don't know. Facebook again, 2.9 billion users. Twitter, 360 million, somewhere in there. Anyway, okay, hold on here. Why would Warner Brothers and DC retweet and repost the image of Cavill? Why would they post this? Because it looks really good and it's free marketing. Why is it that after the failed opening of DC League of Super Pets, did Dwayne The Rock Johnson post an image of the post-credit scene? Right? How much you want to bet if the movie doesn't perform next weekend, they're going to release the entire post-credit scene? It's all marketing. It's all marketing. It's all marketing. Trying to get people to go see the movie. That's what it boils down to. Oh my God, it was number 1 on MySpace? Holy shit. Fuck yeah, you do suck. Fuck yeah, man. Number 1 on MySpace. All right, let's give her another minute or so because we've been on this for a while. Is she getting off this thing anytime soon? Jesus, she keeps going for another. Did she say anything else of value here? Is there anything else we need to know about this, RJ? You were clearly listening. I would not mind moving on to other topics. So, because I do want to. I haven't seen the Quantumania trailer yet. I want to check it out. Ryan Hartwell here says that here's for 10. Thank you very much, Ryan. Says, here's this interesting, fun animated short I want to show you. That's pretty intense. All right, we'll take a look at that at the end. I think he's DM'd it to me on he DM'd it to me on what's it called? The thing. It's a thing. It's on Discord. Thank you very much, Ryan. We'll check that out at the end there. All right. So she basically said that Warner Brothers Discovery is using Henry Swift's marketing or whatever. I mean, that's not wrong. That's not wrong, RJ. And it can, both things can exist at the same time. Both reasonings can be true. If you want my honest take on it, I would say it's definitely both. Even though there's been no official announcement that a contract has been signed, this obviously is a thing. Lord Slug here says, just end it. I can't stand her voice no more. Well, buddy, get ready for it.
Ow!
There you go. That's all for you, Lord Slug. That's all for you, buddy. Ryan, no, MySpace is still a thing for music, but that's really about it. So, all right, there are some other things to get to tonight, but the one I've been really wanting to get to, guys, the one I've been wanting to take a look at here is we first got the very first look, official look, non-pirated from Hall H at Comic-Con, which I didn't watch, by the way. I just didn't watch it. It just, It's just the angle was too terrible. People are very bad at that clandestine reporting. My God, you guys, I'm so upset. I'm so bummed. We have all this technology in our hand, literally in the palm of our hand, and yet like still, people suck at shooting this kind of shit. All right, so Quantumania, here is the trailer.
I used to ask myself a lot of questions. Scott, you're at ex-con. How are you an Avenger? That doesn't make sense. But everywhere I go, people tell me the same thing.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
People still need help, Dad. That's why we made this. It's like a satellite for deep space, but quantum.
Wait a minute. You're sending a signal down to the quantum realm. Turn it off. Now!
All right, I dig it. I dig it. Whoa.
Where are we?
It's a secret universe beneath ours.
What are you so afraid of?
There's something I never told you.
This place. It isn't what you think. I can get you hope. And give you more time. If you help me. So, what's it gonna be? Batman.
Holy shit, that looks fucking amazing. Holy shit. No, I haven't watched it yet. That was my first time seeing it. Shiny, that was my first time watching. I knew it popped up today, but I was like, you know what? I'll wait to watch it with everybody. I gotta say this, man. I definitely gotta say this. Peyton Reed has learned a thing or two about working on the volume on Mando season 2. I think you can absolutely tell that that he had learned a lot from that. RJ here with $5, man. Thank you. Says a lot of people are making fun of the trailer and visuals, saying it looks like Spy Kids 3D. Many are fatigued with the use of the volume. It looks okay to me. I don't think many are fatigued with the use of the volume, RJ. We've had one feature film done in the volume. There's been, it's like, come on, man. Come on. A lot of people are making fun of the trailer. I haven't seen that. I don't care. I don't care if people are upset with the fucking volume. Like it's the best thing we've got going for, technology right now. That's very much the factor. Okay. Here. So what do we got? I'll just show you this real quick. This is from, Rational sent me this one here. We're kind of making fun of the whole Spy Kids angle, I guess. Let me just bring this up. All right. So obviously we can see here that you got Kang and whoever the fuck I don't know who that is in the top left there or top right. Look, here's the thing with this. It's ridiculous. This is just nitpicking for just being a nitpicking sake. That's all it is. It's no big deal. It's NBD. Look, I think I think some people, not everybody, not a lot, but a few, I think those people are in a situation where they just kind of want to be like, a bit of a dick about it, like, oh, it looks like this, and look, here's the thing. We made fun of of Black Adam for being heavily inspired by early 2000 superhero films. And I think it kind of leaned into that, to be honest with you. But Quantumania is opening up the door to the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. And it visually, it looks great. Paul Rudd, this movie and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 are going to be the first two trilogies directed by the same people, by the same person. You know, Favreau only did 1 and 2, right, for Iron Man. And James Gunn is going to be able to get his trilogy done. Peyton Reed is going to be able to get his trilogy done in actually less time than James Gunn did. It's going to be far more consequential to the MCU than what, look, Ant-Man and the Wasp was very consequential in regards to opening up the quantum realm for the time heist leading into Endgame, which makes sense. This movie, once again, is kind of doing the same thing for opening up the door to bringing in, the villain, who is going to be very interesting for Loki season 2 and things like that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I think Peyton Reed really kind of upped his game. Also, speaking of upping their game, I gotta give a shout out here. You Do Suck has become a new matinee member, buddy. Thank you so much for joining the HWAD squad. Really, really, really appreciate it. Definitely appreciate everyone who's become a channel member and also supports via super chats. It's a great way to help keep things going, because things suck right now. Let's see here. John Watts was actually first. Okay. We can argue that it's semantically correct. Okay. And in less time. But again, it was also a Sony co-production. So it's, semantically fine. I was wrong. But on the other side of that, am I? I leave it to the chat to decide, right? I leave it to you. That's all. I take the L absolutely on that one, but I think semantically, it's a semantic L. That's so. H Barts here says this Ant-Man movie will actually have stakes. Well, the second one had stakes, but we didn't know what those stakes were just yet. That movie it was a setup. It had stakes, but the stakes paid off in another film. So. Anthony here asking, where is the D23 Ant-Man trailer? It has more stuff in it. I'm not going to show it for one, because I don't want to get busted. But I'm fine with what this showed. I'm cool with that. I don't need to see every trailer. I really honestly don't need to see every trailer. Because look at the Black Adam trailer. They kept showing him flying and knocking down those fighter jets, and that scene wasn't even in the movie. I don't need to have, I want to watch it. I want to go see it. I'll watch the trailer. Cool beans. Everything there. Malad here says, because it was a Sony co-production, we should not count it. I'm saying semantically, you probably shouldn't. but in regards to it being a Marvel Studios production, then yes, you can argue it. It goes both ways. Both can exist. H Bar's here saying, do you think Cavill still has a chance to be Hyperion? No, I don't. I think there's that. Show the 1080p leaked Guardians trailer. No, I'm not doing that either. There's definitely, you can send it to me. I want to watch it, but I'm not going to show it on screen. I'm only going to show shit that's been, I get so many freaking content claims, all the fucking time. So, Tails, you're asking, why would he want to be Hyperion? If this deal, let's say there isn't a deal signed yet with Warner Brothers, and Henry is still hammering out the deets, and this today was again, promotion for the movie, an indicator that things, could be coming, that they are close to making a deal, but then the deal falls through, then of course Marvel is always on the horizon. That is, unless Marvel has already contacted him and he turned Marvel down in order to go back to being Superman, which, by the way, I think that's a worthwhile gamble, if you want my honest opinion, right? I do. I think that's a worthwhile gamble to turn down Marvel to try to become fucking Superman again. I think we're all in that particular boat. right? I think we're all that good. You do suck asking, do I get free nudes becoming a member? No, because there's no nudes of me that exist on the internet. I'm sorry. There's no nudes of me that exist anywhere that I'm aware of. But for the most part, no. And you don't want to see that. It ain't, I'm not like, it ain't that great. I just, I'm a 40-year-old out of shape guy. If that's your kink, then maybe we can talk, but still. Rational here says, if you show the trailer, I'll send you and your wife on a luxury Disney cruise from Seattle to San Diego. I don't think they offer a cruise from Seattle to San Diego. Generally speaking, the cruises have to go to an international port in order to do the duty-free stuff or the tax-free stuff on the booze and cigarettes and shopping and everything else. They do have cruises from San Diego to Hawaii. They have cruises there's a 16-day cruise, I think, from like Seattle to Hawaii and back, which we were talking about doing, but that's like $8,000. Yeah, Vince here says, if I want to see that, I'll look in the mirror. Exactly. Now, listen, if this was like the 1800s or early 1900s, dude, I got calves of steel. All right. As far as like my best physical feature, my calves and my ankles are fucking toit, right? Because they carry around a human boulder on top of it. So they're very lean and very oof. This is true. A couple years ago, I was in Arizona and I was wearing my sandals because it's Arizona. And a couple girls I was with in this group I was with, they were checking out my calves and my ankles. And I heard them talking. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, oh no, we're just admiring your calves. And I'm like, okay. And it's like, no, like they look really good. I'm like, is that a kink? Like, can I do an OnlyFans? Is like, hi, you don't know me, but you can call me Cav Johnson. Look at these babies. I mean, like, look, male OnlyFans. I don't understand that. I don't understand men becoming, there's like male porn stars that are like, you want to see my OnlyFans? Like, what? No, like, I fast forward through blowjob scenes. I don't want to see that shit either, man. Like, it's not what I'm here for, right? I'm not here to put your shit fucking front and center. All right. And I'm not here to hear like the fucking gagging sounds. So that shit's disgusting. I'm sorry. It is. It's gross. Can we just have an honest conversation about that? Like the weird, like fucking fascination with like deep throating and like the gargle that you hear. That's not attractive. Sorry. I'm a little bit off topic. Yes, I'm aware that Repsion has an OnlyFans and I do not in any way want to see it. Not one. I've known Daniel for years. Love Daniel. Great guy. I do not want to see him naked. That would just be a bridge too far. You know what? I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. Oh, Rhea here telling on herself. Oh, she's telling on herself. To each their own. Oh, there we go. I mean, you know what? You're right. To each their own, 100%. 100%. So, can we get a Jarbo OnlyFans? No. Like I said, man, nothing there. Nothing in this particular game right now, can be seen. Spherical Man here says, I don't mind a decent BJ scene, though. I mean, look, man, like, okay. Here's off topic. I need to get a warning for like an off topic conversation. The thing with blowjob scenes, I don't have an issue with them because the idea is like you're meant to like, fantasize that like she's sucking your dick, whatever, right? Okay, fine. Like I get that. But I kind of feel like most of the time, like these are so over and over exaggerated. It's like, I can't stand watching motherfuckers over exaggerate when it comes to like watch trailers. Do you really think I'm gonna people over exaggerate when it comes to like fucking? Like when you have that scene and then like the woman, it's just, you got the gargle, you got the spit, the choking. It's like the weird commentary, and all that stuff. And then it's like, but then when the actual act is happening and then it's just like, the guy's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, and she's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and, and you're just like, what? Like it sounds so fake. It sounds so fake, and you're like, this is just dumb. Like this is why Pro-Am is better, man. Like Pro-Am is just like, you know what? It's more real. It's more art. It's not about the corporate side, man. It's not about the profit of pornography, man. It's about the art of fucking, man. That's I can just imagine some hipster somewhere trying to like argue against the evils of capitalism and adult entertainment, but still decides to go like, but I support my favorite Pro-Am artists on OnlyFans, man. Got to give money to the people, man. Support artists directly, man. Anyway. LOL, no, it's good acting. Oh my god. Sphere Queen says your OnlyFans could just be you reviewing porn. No. There's a girl named Carly Ray who like does reactions to like James Dean videos and like hardcore scenes, and it's like I always find I came across that one night. I was kind of like, all right, this is interesting. So I clicked on it. I'm watching it for a few minutes, and it's like, all right, like I get it. She's like, she's definitely overplaying it, but it's part of the performance. You know what I mean? And then it's like, it cuts between her and then reacting to like just this insane scene that does not look fun in any way, shape, or form, and I'm like, all right, there's another one too called, I think it's called like Girls React or whatever. And it's like, it's just like different porn stars like reacting to like jerk off videos on Omegle or something, and you're like, all right, like there's a lot. You're like, how do you know all this stuff, man? Like, because I peruse the internet, and I see what's going on and I pay attention to shit. And if something is an oddity, it catches my eye. That's what it boils down to. If something is an oddity, it catches my eye, and then I kind of like I log it away in the bank of knowledge, for no other purpose than to bring it up at some weirdly weird time. So, Daredevil just coming out of the gate swinging, buddy. Right? Just coming out of the gate swinging. I like seeing girls squirt on porn. Is your favorite porn star Adriana Chechik? Is that her? I can't get into squirting. Like to me, it's so weird. Right? To me, it's so fucking weird. Like, it's just like, it's part P, like, it's part P, but it's just like, I don't get the water sports, man. It's not for me. And as for the question about like blowjobs, yes, I like blowjobs, but it's like, I like getting, I don't necessarily enjoy watching in the context of watching on a screen. Very awkward if like anyone in my family listens to this episode. Hope not. I don't think they do. I don't think anyone I know in my real life actually listens to me on this shit. Right? Like maybe my sister does. She says she's listened before. I hope not. Sammy, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. You wandered into skip past this shit. Anyway, heroes don't do that. Zachary here points out Adriana Chechik is a good one. I'm more of an Asa Akira guy. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's that. Or a Bella Danger. You guys. Let's see. Since you like found footage movies, is POV your favorite type? Actually, yeah, it is. I'm very drawn to point of view. I don't know why, but I am. I think it's the most like realistic in regards to that. Like it's just, it's very interesting how a lot of the POV shit plays out. There's this one that I came across like a little while back. I just thought it was very funny where this guy does these series. It's all like, MILF, step aunt, stepmom shit, right? Because that's like everything now on there. It's like, let's get as close to incest as humanly possible without ever really crossing the line. If you ever want to see something, and I will not show it here, but if you ever want to see something truly funny, go on Twitter and just look up Tugrats and just watch the trailer for Tugrats. It's Rugrats the porno. Just watch the trailer just of them talking. Yeah. It's called Tugrats. It's the thing. Anyway, we should probably get back to this stuff, right? No, look, here's the thing. Okay, fine. Music Manager says, I love Adriana Chechik. Also, water play is not bad if you don't judge your sexuality or have an open mind. I'm not judging anyone's sexuality for being into that shit. I am just simply not a fan of it. Like, I am, like, I'm the kind of guy that, like, I wash my hands like 20 times a day. You know, it's not that I'm a germaphobe necessarily. I just like things to be clean feeling. And that to me does not come across as clean feeling. You know, and I think that's kind of my tick is like, I like things to feel like, you know, I can only handle a certain amount of messiness. Does that make sense? Otherwise I'm very uncomfortable and, you know, not like Howard Hughes peeing in jars sort of thing, but just things like that. And it just comes from the years of like, you know, the shit that I've cleaned up at the drive-in kind of fucked with me a little bit because I've cleaned up some nasty ass stuff. So I just like to be like clean. And that to me just comes across as not clean. So I just don't find a value in it for me personally. But hey, man, listen, no shame on the kink. That's your thing. That's your thing. It's like, I'm also not into butt stuff. Not my, I don't like anal, you know, none of that shit interests me. Just doesn't interest me. You know, it's like, but why? Like, like, but why? You know, if you're like, okay. Like, it just doesn't interest me. Anyway. Remember folks, as we bleed viewers getting into a very raunchy conversation. By the way, just in case you're wondering like why the fuck we go off on these tangents for people who might be new, just kind of I want you to pay attention to like some of the artwork, the banner artwork we've got here, like this specifically. What does that remind you of? You know, like, what does that remind you of a little bit? Just say, that is just something to remember. That's what we like to joke and have a lot of fun here and talk about adult topics. So Music Man is like, oh, so you have OCD? Yeah, I have OCD pretty bad. And I'll tell you this though, man, on the subject of being a content creator, my OCD is like fucking destroying my mental health. Like Boogie2988 put out a video today about that, about YouTubers and content creators and mental health. And I'm like, dude, I fucking feel it because it doesn't matter what I do. It's never good enough. It doesn't matter. I'm always like tweaking things even when I shouldn't or when I don't need to. And it just fucks with my brain. Like you guys have no idea. Like it's bad. There are days where it gets really, really bad. And there's periods of time where I just burn myself out. I'm kind of in one of those spaces right now. Like I'm trying to not do that, because thankfully the kids are back in school and I can go to the library, but like they were sick 2 days last week. So I couldn't go to the library. Then today, take them to school because it's Monday. And apparently there was no school today. I never got the memo. So, you know, there's that. Let's see. John here says quality does not create more views. No, it doesn't. Quantity generally does. H parts for 5. What the fuck? What are considered normal fetishes? I want to hear from a man of culture. I mean, like, look, a fetish is your own personal kink. I don't believe there's such a thing as a normal fetish. I think what you're dealing with though is just what you're into. And you know, maybe the normal part of it is like, you could call it like more on a consensual side of thing. Like if you're going to, you know, like there's nothing wrong with BDSM. There's nothing wrong with being like, having a dom sub relationship. There's nothing wrong with you having your kink, provided that it doesn't hurt anybody, it doesn't harm anybody, and it's done in a safe manner. In the case of like, let's say BDSM, there's this massive like misconception of it with a lot of people. 50 Shades of Grey like was absolutely just devastating for that community because it got a whole bunch of people into the idea of like what kink is. And they ended up like realizing that this shit is fucking brutal. But there's also a whole other part of that that's called the aftercare, where, you know, they look after the client. The 50 Shades of Grey was just like, you know, meek white woman gets beat by, you know, billionaire white dude and then marries him and has this kid, you know, and like that was the whole point. Especially in the first book when she's like, I want you to do your absolute worst to me. And he just like beats her with a stick. Like, that's it. Like no nipple clamps, no clit clamps, no fucking labia, no, like, you know, nothing. You're not tasing the labia. You know, you're just like, I'm just going to hit you with the stick 6 times. And that's the worst it is. Now, did he pull his punches? Obviously, but it was enough to scare her for her to break up with him. And that's how the movie ended, or the book ended. Why the fuck do I know that? Jesus Christ. Anyway. I'm just saying. It's that whole notion. Well, this really went off the reservation. I mean, yeah. It absolutely did. It absolutely did. But that's kind of what happens here, man. So let's talk a little bit about some Star Wars. We'll kind of end it on that there. A couple other things I want to get to, but they can wait till tomorrow. That's not a big problem. So Star Wars, we talked about last night, had come out with their director. And, we know about that, but we're getting more information today from the Hollywood Reporter talking about a secret writer's room, a rising scribe, and a post-Skywalker timeline, a look inside Damon Lindelof's Star Wars movie. Saying here that the secret Star Wars movie project that is being led creatively by Damon Lindelof was thrust into the open on Sunday night when it was revealed that Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, who directed the 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel, was on board as a helmer. The project has been in the works for months while Lindelof is getting that Wookiee-sized share of attention, thanks in no small part to a pedigree that includes a co-creating team of sensation Lost and shepherding the acclaimed HBO series Watchmen. He is by no means the only person involved in the project, and he shouldn't be. But I really love what he did on Watchmen. I was worried. I was concerned. And Watchmen was great. It was really, really, really good. So, in fact, if Lost and Watchmen, as well as The Leftovers, another beloved series Lindelof created, have shown anything, it's that one of the writer's chief talents is picking gifted collaborators. All right. So, sorry, I had to get something to drink. Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that Lindelof is writing the new Star Wars script with Justin Britt Gibson, a young and rising writer who worked as an executive story editor on Guillermo del Toro's vampire drama The Strain, and wrote episodes of Star's A Counterpart series, or a series that deals with parallel dimensions and stars J.K. Simmons. That's cool. The Strain was good. I only saw the first season. I think it went 4 seasons, but it was solid. It was good. It was definitely good. From what I saw, I should go back and rewatch it. Britt Gibson, however, comes to the job after a secret writer's room that began coming together after this year's Star Wars celebration. The room held a 2-week session in July, and at the table were Patrick Somerville, who worked on Lindelof with Leftovers, and then created the Station 11 show, Raina McClendon, a consulting producer on Lucasfilm's own Obi-Wan Kenobi, and a writer on the company's upcoming Willow series, and Andy Greenwald, creator of 2019 Rosario Dawson crime drama Briar Patch, among a couple other writers. Dave Filoni may have also been present. I think at this point, Filoni would have had to have been present, if anything, just to kind of like set the tone, if you want my honest opinion. After breaking the story, Lindelof and Britt Gibson have been clacking away at keyboards. Sources say the movie project is intended to be a standalone, but in success could lead to more movies. That plan goes against the grain of earlier Lucasfilm development process, which saw the company try to come up with new trilogies. Now the studio seems to focus on standalones. And sources say that the story would take place after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, although it would not be a continuation of the Skywalker saga. However, it could feature some characters from the Star Wars trilogy made in the 2010s. Now, here's the thing with that. All right. The thing with that is, like, if they're going to focus on doing something post Rise of Skywalker, it's got to be Finn. I'm sorry. It's got to be Poe. It's got to be Poe. Otherwise, whatever, right? Like, I think Finn, if he would have, they botched that storyline so much. Just let Finn die. John Boyega he's kind of been apprehensive to come back. Oscar Isaac's been more open to it. I don't think it's going to be Rey, but at the same time, RJ here says, I hate hearing stories of writers' rooms. Never a great recipe for success. Why is that? I mean, writers' rooms, every show has a writer's room. There was, in some cases, like, what was it? Akiva Goldsman, I think, was putting together, he put together a writer's room for Transformers a couple years ago. And I think all we got out of that was fucking Bumblebee. And that was a goddamn mess of a movie. I don't care if you liked it, RJ. The story was a mess of a movie. The story was a mess. It was not a well-written story. Good character moments with Bumblebee and Haley Steinfeld. Okay. But John Cena just was not right for that role. And yeah, there's a reason why Travis Knight, who came off of doing animation, did Bumblebee. And then now he's going back to animation. Give you an idea on that one. If the movie was such a success, why didn't he get another live action acting gig? Anyway, but RJ does sit here say, do we really want more with those characters though? No, I said this on Twitter earlier today. Twitter, that they should not have, that they should, go back to doing, they should go back to being in between, either before fucking A New Hope, in between A New Hope and ESB, or ESB and Return of the Jedi. Focus. There's so much there that you can do with expanding the situation involving, what's it called? Expanding the lore and the stories from within that realm that people care the most about. They can easily do that. So, Benson here says, don't bring Rey back. She killed Star Wars toy sales. Really? I mean, I think you would have definitely an interesting, an idea there. You'd definitely have an idea there, Benson. Yeah. RJ here does say the writers' rooms are how you get the dark universe. Focus on one writer, not a bunch throwing shit at the wall. But that's how a lot of stuff comes together, dude. They are making Beast Wars, but that was after the fact. This was like after, I think the writers' room was after The Last Night. Maybe this, I don't know. I gotta go back and double check my research on that one. So, but I agree that they need to focus on Mandalorian. They need to focus on that era and spend time in that era. Don't go forward. Don't go to, look, they are working on fucking, the High Republic stuff, which I get because it's going to tie in to the books. It's going to tie into that initiative, and it's going to pave the way for making Star Wars fans out of Chinese people and getting them to go and check out everything else. That's it. I've been talking about this now for 3 years. That's what they've been working on. That's exactly what they're doing. But now with China kind of scaling things back, it may have hit a snag, but still they're already, very, very, very much in the programming for the High Republic. So there's that. But I did see Gina Carano was trending again today, and a lot of people were really upset. They were really, because they're like, I just wish she could she could continue the story, or we could still get the same story, or whatever the fuck it is. Obviously, we're not getting that, which kind of sucks, to be fair. Because I wouldn't mind seeing more out of that. Out of the character or the story arc of an Alderanian survivor. What do they feel about it? Anyway, so here's something else that's going on right now. According to StarWarsNews.net, they say here that Disney advised Kathleen Kennedy to stop announcing Star Wars projects. More Lucasfilm personnel changes possible. This is coming in a new detailed story from Puck News, which we talk about Puck pretty frequently. He seems to have a lot of the inside track. Saying here that this December, it will have been 3 years since the last time a Star Wars movie hit the big screen. And save for Indiana Jones 5 next year, it looks like we're waiting at least another 3-year window before it happens again. I mean, Lucasfilm has really, they're focusing on Disney Plus, which is really good, but clearly they look, I think Kathy's done a bang up job on a couple things. She's definitely let the ball drop on others. So there's that. Anyway. All right. So ever since The Rise of Skywalker premiered in theaters back in 2019, Kathleen Kennedy has announced 2 live action Star Wars movies. On May 4th, 2020, the company released an official statement saying that Taika Waititi would be co-writing and directing a new film set in the galaxy far, far away. It's been 2.5 years and that movie is still not written. Later that year, on December 10th, it was also announced that Patty Jenkins would be directing Rogue Squadron, but that project is now on the back burner. As a result, Puck News is saying that Disney CEO Bob Chapek has advised Kathleen Kennedy to stop announcing projects until they are set in stone to avoid further negative press surrounding the franchise and the company. Listen, I disagree with Bob Chapek on a lot of things, but motherfucker is absolutely absolutely right here. He is absolutely right. Now, Kathleen Kennedy was asked about this as being in, earlier this year in May, or an interview was published connected in March, saying that Lucasfilm would be ready to make an announcement in 2 months' time that would indicate initial plans to make a splashy celebration, but they didn't, and they made no announcement at D23, and so that's an interesting thing as well. Well, no Feige, no Taika, no Rogue Squadron. No, Feige's still working on it. Matthew Waldron is still writing the script. That's still going on. And Patty Jenkins is definitely out. And Taika has also said that he is still working on it. So no, like those are still going on. But I mean, they're clearly focusing right now on trying to make sure that whatever they do is going to end up very much playing into the Disney Plus side of things, because that's where they've seen success. What they need to do is bring in Favreau and Filoni to develop a Mandalorian movie. Give us something that starts on Disney Plus and concludes on the big screen. And that is something that a lot of people would fucking flock to. I think if you gave us a movie where Baby Yoda was front and center, 2 billion easy. The amount of love Baby Yoda has. So, Thrawn would be one they could do. Absolutely. But it's not to say that Kathleen Kennedy's done a bad job. He'll be on the lookout for Doomcock stories saying Kathleen's fired. I mean, maybe. He'll say that again, right? But we know that Michelle Rejwan just left. And, other executive changes might follow because they just haven't been able to really kind of like lock things in place yet. And they need to. And I don't know what necessarily is holding them back. Is it just the corporate structure? Is it just like the new CEO? Is it just they want to make sure that they get it right? Because like The Last Jedi and fucking The Rise of Skywalker fundamentally hurt the brand. I mean, I'd argue that the apathy towards Star Wars started with The Last Jedi and then carried over to The Rise of Skywalker. Both movies cleared $1 billion, but I think it's just, but there's not a lot of love. I mean, I know people out there go, oh, The Last Jedi is a really good movie. And, they're lying to themselves, but it's, they say it. And I enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker well enough, but there's so much there that you're just also like, oh my God. I haven't had a desire to go back and watch it now in 3 years, almost 3 years. I've watched The Force Awakens. I have not watched The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker, and I don't really have much of an intent to go back to that. If I never go back to the sequel trilogy, I'll just go right to episode 7 and then I'll stop at episode 7. And if they wanted to find a way to go and like retcon or like to do kind of like a Superman Return situation where it just skips over The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker and goes a different direction set in that same timeline, I'd be okay with that too. I'd be absolutely okay with that too. Resident here, or RJ here says, tells me there's trouble with Lucasfilm and the brand, and they're trying to figure out how to move forward. They're legit scared of audience reception. I think so. And I do think that them trying to like how Kenobi turned out, how Book of Boba Fett turned out, both were fine, both were fun, and had problems. I mean, Kenobi had its own issues with pacing and story, and Boba Fett ended up becoming a side character in his own series that kind of felt like it went nowhere at the very end. So there's that. But then again, Andor, people are watching it. It's just not being talked about very much. And that is also something that I think they're afraid of, but it's also something that is aimed for a more mature audience. And if it had like space wizards and shit, that's the issue there. I think probably though, it's because like the way Mandalorian is done, it's done like a pulp serial. It's done like a pulp serial. It's very much kind of done like very adventure based. It's very kind of, it's brought up with that. There's a lone Ronin kind of with like a code of ethics, getting caught up in a grander scheme, trying to do the right thing while still making his way. I mean, there's themes there that we can relate to. Whereas something like, let's say Obi-Wan was just nostalgia bait, teasing the fight, the rematch of the century. And the way they shot it was like something that was like, they fucked up so bad shooting it that it was barely salvageable. for viewing experiences. I forget exactly how all that went through, but that's how it, you know, there's articles about that. And then Boba Fett was like, cool. But at the same time, you're like, why is he trying to go good? Like, nobody wants him to go good. You just want him to hunt, to be a bounty hunter, you know? But he tried his, you got to admit though, at the end of it, he tried his hand at trying to be a daimyo. He tried to be a boss, be a mob boss, come on in, muscle his way on in. Ultimately gets what he wants. And at the very end, he's like, man, fuck this shit, you know, which I thought was kind of funny. But there's been no mention, no hinting about a potentiality of more. So there's a lot going on. Again, I think right now, Tales from the Jedi comes out this week. And that's been getting mixed response from people. Eckhart's Ladder didn't really seem to care for it, but it's been getting mixed response from people. Should be okay. I'm okay with it though. But I also really enjoy the Clone Wars animation style and stuff set in that particular universe, because I've been a fan of that for 14 years. So yeah, it's that. Let's see. So basically, McLeod saying, so you're pulling a Star Wars theory and quietly pretending the sequels don't exist and wanting it retcon. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying if they did that, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. I'm not saying I want that. I'm saying, like, look, The Last Jedi was not a good movie. And as much as I appreciated what The Rise of Skywalker attempted to do to make up for the shit show that was The Last fucking Jedi, there's no denying that those movies are divisive on both fronts for different reasons, and that they did both fundamentally damage the brand. And I'm saying that for the sake of what most fans would want is to set stories in between A New Hope and ESB and Return of the Jedi, and then do what Mando does and talk about things 5 years after the fact, after the fall of the Empire, when the Republic is trying to pick up the pieces. Because there's very interesting political stories to be told there. There's a lot of very interesting tales to be told during a power vacuum. That's just where things can find their way to be good or bad or whatever the fuck it is, and even set things up for down the road, which they are doing with Mandalorian. No, I'm not pulling a Star Wars theory. Please do not put fucking words in my mouth. I appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, Eckhart's Tale, he didn't really care for it. For Tales. I mean, he is super positive, more so than not, you know. But I mean, it's only the first. These are short episodes though, right? Is it one per week, or do all the episodes drop? I don't even know how many episodes dropped this week. All right. Anyway, so to get to real quick here, there was a super chat from Moisture earlier on asking if I believe in 9/11 conspiracies. Because why not? Let's go way the fuck out there. I don't believe 9/11 conspiracies. I've always been very curious about Building 7. You know, I get the story. Debris fell on it, caused fires. It somehow went down. You know, I mean, like, that's the only thing I've always kind of questioned. Other than that, it's just like, yeah, like I'm glad that they didn't get the opportunity to do worse. You know, I'm glad that where they hit in the Pentagon was not like an occupied area. I'm glad that United 93 was able to not to bring them down. It's a tragedy. It's a shame what happened. But I mean, look, dude, who knows? Maybe fucking 40 years down the road, bits of information will come out. You know, maybe 30 years down the road when we hit that 50-year mark and stuff becomes declassified and you can get it through, you know, FOIA and whatnot. And I'll be 70 years old, you know, or whatever. And I'll be sitting there like, huh? What? The Bush administration knew about it? Ah, those bastards. You know what I mean? Like, that could happen. I got no fucking idea. But in the meantime, I accept the official story. I just, you know, 2,997 people died. And as a result, we went into a war that lasted conflict that lasted 20 years in a country that we were trying to depose, you know, bad dudes, and at an insurmountable civilian cost in Afghanistan and Iraq and other places. It led to the birth of ISIS, which caused more problems. I mean, massive drone strikes. Just the military industrial complex has fucking just eaten so much money, so much taxpayer money over the years. And, you know, I mean, we got Bin Laden. That's good. We got Saddam. That's good. The cost was very high. So anyway, that's that one. So thank you very much. Forgot to never forget at 70, maybe. Real quick here, Anthony asks, why is Bob Chapek not letting Marvel do their own stuff with the runtime for a movie? Because, I mean, again, this is all speculation, but to get more showtimes per day. If they've got a 45-day window to get the movie out in theaters and then on Disney Plus, they're going to want to have as many showtimes in the daytime. Look at how many, was it fucking Black Adam's 2 hours and 5 minutes? It could have done better with like maybe an extra 10 minutes of story to kind of flesh out some stuff. But it's in 4,400 theaters nationwide. It's screens. It's on 4,400 screens. There's no missing out on this movie. It's literally everywhere. And Marvel will do the same thing. This is what they do. So, but all right, here to wind us down for the last 10 minutes. This is a animated short film that Ryan asked us to check out. And you know what? Looks interesting. Why don't we give this thing a go here? It's called Fueled. Jesus Christ. This is really good so far. Not even wondering where the hell the guy is. Just like, give me the gas.
What's your emergency? Hello? 911. Help?
That was really good. Like, she fucking killed that pig, man. You know? All over gas. It's like very interesting how how the whole thing came together. You know. It's just fuck, dude. Oh my god. What can I say? What can I say? That'll make you think, right, folks? Damn, man. That's fucking nuts, dude. That was really good. I really enjoyed that quite a bit. Thank you very much, Ryan, for submitting that. That was a well thought out animated film. By the way, guys, I am going to wrap it up. It is time to go to sleep for me. But if you guys want to join the Discord, since there's still about 100 of you in here, it's a good time to get in on that one. People in there are really friendly, and it is a growing little community. So we'll be I'll probably end up taking tomorrow night off. But if some big shit happens or I feel so inspired, I might put together like a PowerPoint and give a presentation and all that jazz. But I do appreciate everyone. Your continued support is always amazing. You guys are always super fantastic. Thank you guys very much for hanging out, watching Hollywood After Dark, a very unique show. Not much like it on the internet, and of course, that's just the way I like it. Now get out of here, folks. Go watch this. What is this? This is Tuesday, Monday night? I don't know. Go watch your Lord of the Rings. Play with your dragons. All right. right, everybody, have a good one, and peace the fuck out.